Hello, this is Dr. Brooke Goldner from Goodbye Lupus, and today I'm here to talk about the link between trauma, emotional trauma, and PTSD and autoimmune diseases. Now, those of you who already know me probably know me as a person who's responsible for the nutrition protocol that's helped people get their health back from autoimmune diseases like lupus, MS, scleroderma, Sjogren's. I myself am lupus-free at the time of this video for over 18 years because of my nutrition protocol, which optimizes cellular repair and immune function and helps people get their health back from chronic disease. But what you might not know about me is before I became known for optimizing cellular function with nutrition, I was a trauma specialist and help people through homelessness and severe trauma to learn how to want to live again and to find their path back to hope and joy from trauma. And what I found as I have focused my career on helping people with autoimmune diseases is that there's a big link between those things. There was a study done that was looking at over 120,000 soldiers with PTSD that found that they had 58% higher rates of autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, and multiple sclerosis. We've also know that stress from trauma actually affects your cortisol levels, which are responsible for modulating your immune system. And there's been a lot of studies now showing the link between trauma, the stress response, and inflammation. And so when those things are connected, then you're going to see as people have more trauma, they also have higher rates of inflammation and higher rates of autoimmune diseases as well. So what about PTSD? What is that? Well, PTSD is a syndrome, post-traumatic stress disorder, that develops after a severe trauma, creates changes emotionally in a person that then become chronic or long-lasting. So when any of us are exposed to a trauma, there are symptoms we experience in the moment, things like feeling out of your body or numb, or depressed or extreme anxiety. And that's natural when you experience a trauma. But if you continue to experience those symptoms months after the trauma and they do not get better, then we start to consider that a post-traumatic stress disorder. So when people have that, they can continue to have those feelings of severe anxiety, dissociating, being outside of their body, something we call hypervigilance, which is that you're more attuned to your environment and nervous about your environment and can be very jumpy if you hear sounds or things. That's called hypervigilance. Basically, your body doesn't allow you to calm down because you're still in that fight or flight mode. There's other symptoms as well. People will continue to experience things like nightmares, but also something that I think is a profound symptom that's not talked about much, which is called the sense of impending doom, in which people who've experienced trauma in their life start to develop this belief that's really a symptom that something bad's going to happen. That's why they have to remain vigilant, is at any moment, something's going to happen. The other shoe's going to drop. And so they remain in the state of hopelessness and despair and really fear about the next bad thing that's going to happen. Now, in addition to that, they can have more symptoms in the moment, like headaches or pain. And they also tend to have more likelihood or increased likelihood of using things like drugs and alcohol to try to numb or deal with that pain, which can also make symptoms like autoimmune disease worse. So the most important thing that I want to bring awareness to is, one, just how common this issue is. It's not just people who've been through the military, but actually people who've been through any kind of severe loss, whether it's a sudden death of someone you love, or it could have been abuse where you feared for your own life, or even witnessing severe abuse or loss for somebody else, and also trigger trauma in a person. So number one, I want to make sure you're aware of that and that you get the help you need. Psychiatrists can be of great help. There are medications that can be used for multiple different issues. One would be medications to actually bring down that adrenaline to help people come out of their fight or flight response. So things like propranolol or clonidine. There's also antidepressants and anti-anxiety medicines that can help people who are struggling to break free from those symptoms. In addition, I strongly recommend therapy, using psychotherapy with a trauma specialist. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, helps you deal with the thoughts so you can work through the feelings. There's also EMDR, which helps you with the eye movements that actually can help move stuck traumatic memories into the long-term memory and out of that state of living in that fear as if it was happening right here in the moment. So I do recommend that you get the mental help that you need from mental health professionals that are trained to do this, that have dedicated their lives to doing this, and also to recognize the need for hope. So in the work that I've done, I found that just as I thought I was moving out of my work in trauma into work on nutrition for disease reversal, I found that once again, I was still working in trauma. And so what I have found work best for people with trauma who have autoimmune diseases is, number one, we got to get your nutrition right. So the more stressed you are, the more traumatized, depressed, anxious you are, the more inflammation you're going to be generating on a daily basis. So you need optimized nutrition to repair that damage and hopefully to repair some of the old damage as well, but definitely the damage that's happening daily. And my Goodbye Lupus protocol, it works for that. And you can find that online. It's in my book, Goodbye Lupus, but I also have a lot of free resources at goodbyelupus.com. I'll have a link here that you can check as well. If you're on Instagram, the link's in my profile. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, there'll be a link with the video. So I have a lot of information explaining that, but you definitely want to start focusing on optimizing your nutrition. And the other part you need to work on is the emotional work. What I found is even when people with PTSD or trauma eat perfectly, they still have higher rates of pain and slower rates of recovery until we work on the emotional health as well. And that's something that I've been able to do for folks because I understand or recognize those symptoms when I see it. So working on hope is one of the biggest things you can do to release that sense of impending doom and to understand that that's not a psychic prediction, but it's a symptom and that you are allowed to start again. That oftentimes when you have PTSD, the worst things you'll ever have experienced already happened. And you're allowed to trust yourself and that new hypervigilance you have, that if there's a new threat, you will face it. But for now, you're allowed to enjoy the time of peace in between the times of struggle and war. And that's where hope comes in as well. So working on the emotional health with the mental health professionals, but also within yourself and doing the self-care you need to feel good, to feel calm, connecting with people who make you feel seen and supported. Get the help you need to feel better. And when you do that and you eat right, you can not only heal from autoimmune diseases, but you can actually start enjoying your life again. So I hope that helps you. If you need any resources, there'll be a link here to help you out. And I hope all of you have a great rest of your day and the greatest of mental and physical health.